We are recording. This is section 6.9, word problems, page 294, number 1 through 28 odd. Do your best for number 28, but just look at it. Try and struggle through it for a few minutes, even if you can't do it. All right, the thing about word problems here, they shouldn't be as hard as they ever were before, because you've seen these word problems. The difference is that the math is different. You've got to settle down. Sorry. Okay, so I'm reading this, and I see the product. That's an operation. I'm going to send it to the closest and. What does product mean? Multiplication. What comes before it? What comes after it? Here's my is. What does is mean? Equals. And then I have that 36. So really, I've got a product. If I have product, sum, difference, and I see it, send it to the closest and, whatever that sign is. Now, how do I translate one more than a number? First of all, what is my unknown here? What does X represent? A number. Okay, so it's my unknown, right? Find the number. So how do I translate one more than a number, Carter?
Multiply.
How do I translate it?
Oh.
One more than a number.
X plus 1.
Yeah. So this means plus. This is a 1. Here's X. Because it says than, the 1 has to come over here and the X over here. Remember? X plus 1. Whoops. Didn't realize I didn't have. Okay, so the first one's going to be X plus 1. Then we have that times. I'm going to just show you that's X plus 1. We have the times. And now we have 4 less than the number. 4 less than the number. Bryce?
X minus 4.
Is my equal sign 36. Okay, I can't mix 36 with the factors. I've got to double distribute it out. So I know I'm going to have an X squared. When I add the two last terms, what do we get?
Negative 4x.
Negative, when I add them, negative 3x. And when I multiply them, minus 4 equals 36. And now I can subtract my 36. And so we are left with x squared minus 3x minus 40 equals 0. What multiplies to negative 40 and adds to negative 3? Julio?
Negative 8 and 5.
Negative 8, negative 5, positive 5. So this would be x minus 8 times x plus 5 equals 0. In the first one, x minus 8 equals 0. X will equal 8 or negative 5. So I guess I should really do this one more step. X minus 8 equals 0. X plus 5 equals 0. So x equals 8 or negative 5. It's positive 8. Sorry. Okay, questions there? Yes.
Do you want us to write x equals 8 or negative 5, or x equals negative 5 and then x equals 8?
It doesn't matter. Okay.
Why do you say negative 8 or 5?
It means the same thing.
But why do you say it? They both work. They both work? But how do they both? Do the math.
Okay, when you substitute the negative 5 in, you get negative 4 times negative 9. That works. And when you substitute 8 in, 8 plus 1 is 9. 8 minus 4 is 4. 9 times 4 is 36. That works. All right, so they both work. Let's go on to our next question. Shh. All right, length of a rectangle is 2 feet less than 3 times the width. if the area is 65 feet squared, find the dimensions. So with words like length, width, area, they are implying with words like length, width, and area, what are they implying for us?
Shape.
What shape? A rectangle and area. Formula. They're implying a formula. So, my unknown at this point is, what do we know less information on? The length or the width?
The width.
The width. Because the length they give us, they say length is blah, blah, blah. Right? It's width that they don't give us a definition for. So since width is unknown, that's what we're going to call, they give us less information, we're going to call width x. Okay, I need my length. I like to solve these with one variable. Now length, they give us a translation. 2 feet less than 3 times width. If width is x, how am I showing 2 less than 3 times width? Go.
3x minus 2.
Yep, 3x minus 2. So here's my 3x, here's the 2. Because it says less than, I have to switch the terms. Now, they imply a formula, which is length, or length times width is equal to area. As soon as they mention the word area and rectangle, you need to utilize that formula as an algebra student. So the length is what?
65 feet.
No, the length is 3x minus 2. The width is x. And my area is 65. So I'm going to distribute that. I get 3x squared minus 2x equals 65. I have to subtract 65 to set it equal and solve using zero product property. 3x squared minus 2x minus 65. Now we have lead coefficient factoring. So 3 times negative 65 is
195.
negative 195, and I have a negative 2. Again, I'm very close to perfect squares. I'm 2 digits apart. I'm 2 digits apart of perfect squares. What's the closest perfect square to 195? Go.
14.
Which is?
Wait.
Okay, what's the closest square to 195? Go.
196.
196, which is 14 squared. Now, it ends in a 5. So it's close to 14 times 14. It's 2 digits apart. I'm obviously going to have to use 15 because it ends in a 5. So I'm going to go with 15 times something. 15 times 13 or 15 times 17. 15 squared is too much. So I'm going to go down and go to the 13, and that happens to work.
15 times 13 does not equal 65.
It equals negative 195.
Oh.
So now I have,
Wait, is it a negative?
shh.
No, it's positive 13, negative 15 is that.
Okay, now I have, it was negative 15, so it's x plus 13 times x minus 15 equals 0. But remember, we have to divide by that 3. Remember that, guys?
By that 2.
No, by the 3. We multiplied by the lead coefficient 3, so I have to divide by 3. I get 3x plus 13 times the quantity of x minus 5 equals 0. Okay? Now, I'm going to take both of those. 3x plus 13 equals 0, and x minus 5 equals 0. I'm subtracting 13. Right there, I know this isn't the answer.
What do you mean?
Why is this not the answer right here? Because what?
They're not divisible.
No. Measurement doesn't have to be exact. It could be, 3 1/3 inches.
It's negative because measurements cannot be negative.
Right, correct. So right at this point, I mean, right at this point, when I saw that this is negative, I knew that wasn't going to be the answer. You have a bad answer there. Here, I'm adding 5, so x is equal to 5. This is the correct answer. Can this piece of paper have two different measurements?
Yes.
No, it can't. It's one measurement. This right here, this line only has one measurement. So a width can only have one measurement. You can't have two measurements for the width. So you have to rule one out. Either if they're negative, that's the one you kick out. Sometimes when you substitute it in and you've drawn the picture and it shows this, when you substitute it in, this ends up being bigger than the longer side, then you know that number is not good. But most of the time, like you're going to see it right now, you'll see it'll be negative. So kick out the negative one. So the width is 5. I'm going to erase this so you can see it better. The width is 5, right? And then 3 times 5 is 15 minus 2 is 13. And you do need, Alex, you're kind of newer to my class, you have to put the units. So this would be feet and feet. Okay? I knock off a half a point for that. Okay.
Wait, how is it 13?
3 times 5 minus 2.
Oh, okay.
Okay? All right, next one. We have 2 more problems.
2 more problems?
Okay. One more time, Rami. 3 times 5 minus 2. Substitute what you found, x. So that equals 15 minus 2 equals 13. Okay? All right. Let's go on to the next one. Draw the base of a triangle. I'm drawing a triangle. The base of the triangle is 4 longer than the height. What do they give us less information on? The height. So let's call the height x. Okay? And then my base, what are we calling it? We're calling the base, no, base is 4 longer than height. Base is, we're not using h. 4 longer than height. We call this x. Right? So x plus 4. Now, what's the formula for a triangle? Area equals? 1/2 BH. Right. Now I'm substituting. Now, pay attention here because a lot of kids are having a hard time with this. I'm going to remind you, this is one term because it's 3 things. They're tied together by multiplication. So if I want to clear that 1/2, all I have to do is multiply by 2 once. Because really, this is all one term. It's tied together by multiplication. Do you understand that? It's a, well, yeah, I guess it would be yeah. So, it's not a trinomial. There's not plus and minus signs between the terms. So, when I clear that, I multiply each side by 2. And we get this. Then I'm going to distribute. I get x squared plus 4x. We need to finish the next problem. Subtract the 32. What multiplies to negative 32 and adds to 4? 8 and negative 4. So x equals 4 and x equals negative 8. What's the bad answer?
The negative 8 one.
So if the height is 4, what is the base? 8. Now this only asks for find the base. Find the height. No, it only asks for the height. Find the height of the area of the triangle. But you have the ability to find the base. All right. Last problem. I hope you did these at your school. Okay? What do we call our first consecutive integer?
Oh, yeah.
X.
I love
What do we call the second consecutive integer?
X plus 1.
Okay? So now, now what it says is the product of 2 consecutive integers. We just multiply them. Is 90. We distribute it. Subtract 90 and set it equal to 0. Now, what multiplies What multiplies to negative 90 and adds to 1?
Negative 10 and 9.
Good. So now as I get my negative, I'm doing x minus 10 times x plus 10, x minus 9. So my solutions are negative 10 and 9. Are those consecutive integers?
No.
Hold on, Grady, because I'm just
Okay.
recording. Those are not consecutive integers. So when you fill this out, let's say this one is negative 10. What's the next consecutive integer? Negative 10 plus 1? Negative 9. Or when x is 9, 9 plus 1, what would it be? 10. So when you give me your answer, you're going to give me negative 10, negative 9. Or 9, comma 10. You have 4 answers there. Got it?
Wait, can we just say negative 10, negative 9, 9?
No, it's or. These are the two consecutives, or these are the two consecutives. All right, that is the lesson. We're out.
Exploding.